Well, we are back with another edition of In the Circle, and In the Circle is presented by Rawlings, the official softball of the Missouri Valley Conference and the NCAA. And today we have second-year head coach at Drake University, Lindsay Diehl. And Coach, we've talked a little bit off and on throughout the course of the season, but really in your second year, kind of want to get your thoughts about how things are going and what you learned from your first year in the Valley.
It feels so much better being in year two. Last year was in fast forward, absolutely. But we had some really good things that I was able to learn from last year, and getting a chance to just, I always had, I admired the Valley, the level of competition in the Valley, but to get to be in it and coach against opponents, and kind of understand what it needs to look like if you want to be at the top of the Valley, got an opportunity to see that. I feel more confident in like making sure that I'm setting my standards and we're going to live these standards. We actually, when we got back from, I believe it was Bradley, we sat down and talked about our non-negotiables again, and what it's supposed to look like when you're in that uniform and how you represent this program, and just the respect of the game. And I think that they're starting to understand that a little bit more. And so now, last year I felt like I played nice a lot, where now I get to be, not that I'm not nice, but like I get to be more assertive with like, this is how we're going to play. And if you're not going to live to this standard, you're not going to get the opportunities, or somebody else is. And so I do feel much better in year two. I also am not very patient, and I want it to happen right now. But we are growing and we are figuring out. It was really great this weekend. We went extras, and lost. And then on Saturday, figured out how to win in the seventh. And so figuring out how to get on the other side of that, because we've had so many games that are just like 1-run ball games, 3-run ball games. And we're also leaving 10 to 12 runners on base on a regular basis. And so figuring out how to execute, I feel like we're getting on the other side of that in year two. So.
Yeah, like looked at the schedule, and I guess I didn't realize 28 straight games on the road. I mean, this past weekend was your first weekend at home. And so how difficult is that not only for you, but the players to navigate being on the road for that many games and playing so many close ones? How difficult is that to get everybody in the right mindset?
We definitely did a happy dance on Thursday that we weren't packing a bag and getting on a bus, and we got to have a practice on Thursday. But it's a grind, and it's mentally tough. You got to figure out how to be mentally tough. And, but that's what a Midwest team does. Like, we're not the only ones that do that. And so I really don't talk about it a lot. I'm a big circle of control, circle of concern. And, we figure out how to lace up our cleats no matter where we're at and how tired you are. And I always say, we went down to Kansas City, I think it was. And we ended up going that day because of weather and all that stuff. And I was like, this was the JUCO life. Like, we hopped off a bus, put your pants on in the back seat of that van and get off, and we're going, and we're going to play 3 games today. And so it's not something that I put a lot of, time talking about how hard it is. I'm just like, this is what we do. Figure out how to compete. And so what, next pitch?
Yeah. Those were the days when I played, maybe not so much when you played, but get out
Oh,
of the van.
absolutely.
We went dressed a lot of
Yep.
times,
Yep.
and hop out, throw a few warm-up pitches, throw a few
Yep.
from the outfield, and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not so bad.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Last year was an adjustment of like leaving on a Thursday, getting to a hotel, waking up, and you don't play till 5 o'clock on Friday. There was so much time of just, okay, what else can we do to prepare ourselves? So we started doing some shakeouts. We started watching some video this year, of just prepping and letting them understand what it is that they're going to see, whether that's the pitcher seeing the hitters are going to face, and vice versa, for us to know what pitchers look like. And so we've been able to utilize the time a whole lot more, because last year I was like, we're twiddling our thumbs, which Drake kids are sitting in the lobby doing homework too. So they were doing that, but just figuring out how to manage yourself on the road has been, you got to figure out how to do that if you want to be successful.
Yeah, it's sometimes an adjustment. One of the things noticed throughout the course of this season, hitting has been a little slow to come around for you guys, but you had a game against Western Illinois where you put up, I think it was 14 runs. Uh, has that kind of helped catapult you and jumpstart the offense? It looks like you're hitting a little better after that ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was fun. And we keep talking about, if you don't feel the difference of when we had so much energy at Western Illinois and they had so much, like Mudita, where everybody got an opportunity. Everybody was playing, everybody was in the lineup at some point. And they were celebrating each other. And I was like, sometimes we have a little bit of a poor me, if we're not being successful at the plate. And it's like you can't play the game like that because the game is going to come back to you. And so we do hope that we continue to grow in the right direction after that Western game. Pitchers looked good, hitters looked good. Everybody was all in on what it was that we were doing, and hopefully we can keep rolling because somehow we are over halfway through the season. I feel like we just loaded up the vans to go open up at the Dome for the tournament, and it's like it's April tomorrow. And so I keep talking to them about we're 5 weeks away from the conference tournament. And 5 weeks can be a really long time if you let it, like, that we are intentional every day, or 5 weeks can go really, really fast. And it's like, we're going to be like, oh, we should have, we could have, I wish we would have. And so just, we don't want to get to, especially getting the opportunity to host at home. We get to have the conference tournament here, and trying to take advantage of getting ourselves ready for that moment. Cause none of this matters, right? Like, as long as you're learning from every opportunity that we step out on the field, and it's not just a loss, it's a lesson. And then I hope we can continue to get on the other side and figure out how to get those dubs. So
You had mentioned a lot of one-run ball games. I think I tallied up at least 10, if not more, one-run ball games. So pitching has kept you in ball games. So you got a new pitching coach
yep.
this season, and so just talk about that impact and your pitching roster of what they bring
Yeah.
to.
I mean, we keep talking about, like, when we are in some really good games and we haven't gotten on the other side of it because we're at zero, right? Like, even over at Bradley, we lose, I think it was 1-0 in the 9 innings, that it was like, man, our pitchers did a phenomenal job. Like, their ERA is now, I think they're at a 3.8 as a team. Our front side of the season playing some Alabamas, and those didn't help that. But like, the pitchers are all doing their job. And when we were down at Belmont, they made the comment of, like, you guys have a staff, like, you have a staff of pitchers that it's like, tag, you're it next. And I think that they're really buying into that mentality. And I think that Molly Jacobson McCarger is a huge piece of that I absolutely love her and love working with her. They've really worked on some different directional things. Like, if they're missing a spot, we missed middle way too much last year. Where now, if they're missing, they're at least in the right lane. That if they're missing up or down, not, right down the middle of the plate, that they're at least on the right side of the plate that we're trying to go attack. And Molly Hoekstra was warming up the other day, and Paige was getting in, and getting ready in relief. And she was like, are we the tag team today? And so them just having that mindset too of, like, I'm going to go until I can't. And then I know that I'm going to trust, I'm going to high five you and you go next. And so I think that that's been a huge piece for us too, is just, like, everybody ready to whatever innings they can give us to be able to get through games.
Yeah, that's it. And you mentioned Paige. I mean, she's kind of having a bounce back year. Kind of nice to see, as
Yeah.
she'd struggled with some injuries, and I know her ERA is great. So how has she evolved and bounced back for this season?
Paige was a utility. So she was also in the outfield for us. She was a hitter for us. And she was having some shoulder issues, kind of in some pain. And, that didn't help her on the mound. And so we made the decision this fall, what if we just shut her down and just make her a pitcher? Like, that's what her focus is going to be, is that she's going to be a PO for us, and not any extra wear and tear on her shoulder of, playing overhand catch in the outfield and swinging a bat. And I think that has helped her a lot. And then she really has been so much more focused and so much more intentional. And it's because I knew she had it last year. It was, because she is really spinny. Like and she makes adjustments really quick. Like she's able to feel what it is that she's doing, which is really helpful when you're trying to make an adjustment, is that you can't fix it till you feel it. And she just has such a great demeanor that she doesn't get rattled. She stays pretty calm, and trusts her defense. And I'm really happy. I keep telling her that I'm really proud of what it is that she's doing this season. And, it's fun to watch her have what she's doing.
Yeah, it's fun to see her bounce back and kind of get into the form that she was when she was a freshman.
Yeah, I've heard Paige freshman stories that she was just, really, dominant. And so she's able to get back to that, which is great.
So conference tournament is in Des Moines. Drake University gets to host the conference tournament. How is the preparation going? As you said, we're only about 5 weeks out. So how is that all coming together?
We've had a couple different conversations where we met with, all the facilities team, everybody that's all hands on deck to make sure that this runs smooth. And then the Valley office has been great also. And so when I think it was around February, we had our first meeting. I was like, are we sure we're ready that this is going to run really, really well? And they, Stephanie Sledge has done a great job of making sure that everybody is crossing their T's and dotting their I's and ready for everybody to come to town so we can put on a great tournament. And we're looking forward to that. And we got to keep speaking some good, we were talking about weather apps, some good weather for that week as well.
Yeah, I want to say, and I don't mean to put any bad karma on it, but I think the last time Drake hosted it was pretty darn cold.
They were referenced last time a lot, and so hopefully this one is not the case. And because yesterday, I don't know what that was.
I don't know what yesterday was either. So it was, let's get it out of here. And
I said it was Iowa. Like that's just Iowa. I got sunburnt, and then the snow was flying the next day. So
yeah, well, let's hope that little weekend in May is not that. We have a consistent 70 degrees and we're good to go. So, well, hey, Lindsay, thank you for joining us. Always enjoy talking to you and looking forward to the conference tournament.
Yeah, us too. We look forward to having you on the call here soon too.
Thanks.